According to studies, sports is essential, especially for students, to maintain their physical and also mental health. Everyone knows the importance of exercising, but do they know how to fit recreation time into their tight schedule? To find out, we will interview two famous athletes in UPM who can share their tips in solving this issue. Jonathan Wong Guangji, Malaysia's representative in Olympic Games 2016, is a rising name recently recognized by sport fans. However, his participation in sports, specifically in shooting game, has reached almost 10 years. His strict training schedule, however, didn't stop this dean-listed student from performing in academic aspect as well. To him, both education and sport excellency are equally important, so he chooses to be flexible when there is a sudden change in his lecture schedule. Jonathan's involvement in professional shooting sports, however, doesn't restrict him from playing other sports and practicing a healthy lifestyle.
Hi Jonathan. Okay, first of all, congratulations for your involvement in Olympics,
thank
and also congratulations for your this award for previous semester also. And first of all, I want to ask you about, can you tell us about your involvement in shooting using air pistol and what brought you in Olympics?
I think a lot of people are gonna ask me how do I even join shooting sports, right?
Yeah.
So it was actually during 2004 where I finished my UPSR. I was not really doing much thing, and then during that time, it's like I was lucky because the Malacca state was not having enough members for the Sukma team, so they trying to bring more members into the group.
When
So-
you're 13?
Yeah, that was when I
Oh,
was
you're
13.
so
So I sort of joined it because my dad was saying because I'm not doing much at home, so he said why not just go and have some fun and do some outdoor activities, you know. So that time I was like, okay, fine, I'll just join it, just for the sake of joining because my father was like, you know. So it's like very noisy and it's like just join lah. So when I joined it, it's like I never expect me to be in this current situation where I'm like Olympic and doing my study as well. But that time I was just trying to join like for fun, and so I go every weekend for the training, and eventually I represented the state of Malacca for Suka Malaysia, which is Sukma, and also some other local tournaments. I slowly developed my performance, and they noticed the national team, junior team. The coach noticed that my performance was quite okay, so they tried to bring me into this Bukit Jalil Sports School. So yeah, it's like when I entered there, it's like a whole new environment. Everything is new.
Then
It's like
your secondary school is in Bukit Jalil?
I only entered when I was Form 5, which is 2009. Yeah. So I never expect much because when I thought of Bukit Jalil Sports School, I thought it's like, oh, it's a place where you study and you do sports. Like, just gonna continue having fun, right?
Yeah.
So I joined that. And during that time, I was like, what drives me into working towards Olympic Games was because when I watched the television, because since I was doing sport and I watched television during the Olympic seasons, that was during Beijing Olympics and also the London Olympics. And every time when I watch it, it's like I see badminton players, I see the cyclists, everything. So it's like I look at them as I'm doing sport as well, and why not I go chase the dream like everyone does? It's like Olympic. At first I thought Olympic is like huge dream, and I wouldn't even achieve that kind of dream. But somehow eventually I just managed to, you know, qualify for the game. I was like excited about it. Yeah.
Because it's international and really hard to.
Yeah, it's like all the athletes dream of Olympics because that's the highest game ever. Aside from Olympics, probably World Champ, which is like highest in sports category, sports. But Olympic game is like everyone comes together in different sports, different country, and it's really huge game, right? So yeah.
And why in other sport why you choose shooting air pistol instead of other sport?
I don't know. When I joined the game, I thought it's like because my father was asking me to join the game. As I didn't really do shooting before that. I was like more onto badminton and other stuff in schools. You know, that's the usual sport that people join. But when I started joining shooting, I thought it's something different. It's like something cool because you are dealing with pistols, you are dealing with rifles and all sorts.
When you involved in shooting, do you have someone or anything that inspire you to go above high?
I think that's probably because of the Olympic Games. It's like when I see the TV, I normally see like the previous badminton players, Bong Chung Han, and that was during my time. It's like before Lee Chong Wei comes up, it's like always Bong Chung Han and some other players, and also at the time it's like the cyclist, Sophia, and we have the diver, which is Brian Nixon. So every time I watch the television, it's like they always appear. So that sort of drives me to fight for this dream that all athletes do. Yeah.
And the next question, can you tell us quickly about your training routine?
Basically, my training is every day.
Every day.
Yeah, except for weekend, which is like Monday to Friday is like full day. So morning until evening around. If I have no class, then the session in the morning is gonna be around 9 to 12,
Oh, it's long.
and then the afternoon session is probably around 2 to 5, and then I have my fitness session, which is probably around 5 to 7. Yeah, that's the whole planning for each day, and if I have class, then I might have to do some changes onto that, and then on Saturday is mainly half day, which is morning session in the shooting range. Yeah.
The next question is, how do you manage your time between sport and study?
I think to manage the time is not really easy because even until now I'm in 7th semester, I'm still having trouble with that time management issue. But I think it's quite usual because we're trying to deal with two sides which needs commitment. So what I normally do is like I think the most important thing is to be flexible, I guess, because when we do something, as in when we have like something to do, so we probably have to prioritize it, which one is more important. So like what I normally do is during the important season where I have like last season, the Olympic Games. So during that season, I was not really doing much study, so I focused more onto my sports. But because now it's like this semester, I'm not really doing much sport because it's like now the season is pretty much over. So I'm gonna shift my focus onto my study. It's like what I normally do. I think also at the same time, it's like sometimes when we have assignments to do or something like that, I probably have to sacrifice some of my training session just to complete that. And or sometimes when class cancel or something like that, I'll just straight away like use that time for my training. Yeah, so that not to waste any time.
Okay, and the last question and the most important one is, what is your advice to motivate the students who say that getting involved in sport distract them from studies?
I think it goes down to individual. If they really think they want to go into sport, I think they should chase it. It's like if you have a dream, why not just chase it? And if you don't do it, but at the end of the time when you're gonna rethink back, you're probably gonna regret it. And why didn't you do it? Right. So it's like whatever it is, if you have a dream, just go for it.
Thank you, Jonathan, for your preparation and also good luck for your future.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for the support. Yeah.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Another figure who has split life is Muhammad Iqbal bin Jamaluddin, a third-year aerospace engineering student who actively involves in squash game, especially in university level. His first involvement in squash is during his first year when his college fellow, Dr. Yap, encouraged him to participate in the game. From then, he started to play actively in university level competition. The highest achievement he succeeded to achieve is the second place in IPT Squash Open, but aim for the future for the leading place in Masum Championship. Although Ikmal opted for a challenging course for his degree, he still managed to balance between study and sports. Training for 2 to 3 hours a day, Ikmal still managed to spend time to hang out with his circle of friends. Apparently, involvement in sports doesn't stop him being a normal teenager. He also plays other sports before fully focusing on playing squash.
So hi, my name is Nurul Dosna, and I am going to interview one of my classmates, which is Ikmal. He has been involved in squash. So we will enter the room and interview him. So this is Ikmal.
Hi.
Okay. Okay. Can I have a moment with you?
Yeah, sure.
I want to ask you, can you tell us about your involvement in squash?
Okay, hi. My name is Humay Kumar. I am her classmate. Basically, I started playing squash in my first year, which is 3 years ago. And I'm involved in some tournaments as well.
Okay. Why do you choose squash instead of other sports?
So first of all, I think I chose squash because it is healthy and it's indoor.
Indoor.
And yeah,
So your face won't burn.
yeah, prevents me from sunlight. Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell us briefly about your training routine?
Basically, my training routine is on every evening, 5 to 7, and we have a quad session and also gym session. So we alternate it day by day. Evening and Wednesday we go to gym, and Tuesday and Thursday and Friday we play in the quad. Yeah.
So how do you manage your time between sports and squash?
For me, I don't think it is disturbance playing squash and studying, because for me I have to play any sport to keep myself fresh and healthy so that I can study better.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Do you study at night or just in the class?
I study in the class, evening I play squash, and at night I'll do some homework assignment or some tuition.
What is your highest achievement in squash? You've been involved in Sukan IPT,
Yeah.
and the university
Yeah.
tournament.
If it's in UPM, I present my college, and we have won for 4 times in state. And individually, I present myself for UPM, and I got runner up for IPT squash open. Yeah.
For brief, short brief, he's from KPDI College. Okay. For the last session, what is your advice for students who feel that sports distract them from studies?
My advice, sports have nothing to do with your study, because it even makes yourself healthier and to be more fresh and active, so that you can study very well. You will feel refreshed after you play some sport, any sport. If you don't play sport, any sport. Yeah.
So if you play sports, and then do you feel like you can focus more in the class?
Yes, exactly.
Yes. So that's all from Ikmal,
Yeah.
and I want to congratulate you for the winning in Sukai IPT.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.